2020, we were introduced to the concept of TikTok made me buy it. The instantaneous urge to go and buy something just because you saw a creator on TikTok share it. Brands saw their products and services spread across TikTok, then watched as awareness soared and sales skyrocketed, all after users watched a video that was 60 seconds or less. These success stories can be attributed to community commerce, the blend of shopping, entertainment, and community that can only be found on TikTok. Today, I'm joined by Shivani, Chief Content and Partnerships Officer at Wavemaker, and Matt, Chief Marketing Officer from L'Oreal, Australia and New Zealand. Shivani, let's get right into it. What gets you excited about TikTok?
I love that we have a platform now that is completely real, raw, authentic, and it almost goes against everything we've been taught in advertising. So I really like the opportunity to test and learn and, almost listen to a community and then create content or advertising off the back of what a community is saying.
Love that, adding real value back to the people of TikTok, essentially. And Matt, same question. What gets you excited about the platform and working with TikTok?
First and foremost, also the authenticity of the platform, and then also the speed and two-way engagement, because it really allows us to create an engaging conversation with consumers through creators who really showcase themselves.
Being able to really keep that kind of feedback and interaction is really a special part, I think, of winning with the community there. And I know, Matt, you've already kind of activated some brands directly on the platform. Can you tell us a little bit more around the work you've done and why you're using TikTok?
Absolutely. And the reason why we use TikTok is because we have this direct feedback from consumers. We can see what they like. We see the direct response also in our sales because things really spread fast. We're a global company. And for instance, we have makeup brand Maybelline New York, where we launched a mascara in the US that's picked up by creators. And then it moves to Australia. And then you see sales take off here as well. It is the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. And that is really the source of TikTok Make Me Buy It. And it gives people the opportunity to see a product in action and then test it themselves and directly give feedback to other people of the community.
That's a brilliant example of community commerce, almost creating this kind of like chain reaction with people on the platform, sharing themselves, using the product, sharing what they think around it. I guess I know reviews are really, really important in this category, Shivani. What do you think is kind of the unique thing around reviews and ratings in the world of TikTok?
I think that TikTok has really humanized reviews. I think we have lived in a world that has been obsessed with the star rating online. So I think seeing what real people like me have to say, trying it, the good and the bad, I think we're so obsessed with the 4 or 5 star rating. And I think TikTok is a really nice way for us to almost focus group, are our products great and working? So I think I really like being able to listen to the community and then being able to adapt, advertising off the back of that.
I love that. I guess that's where the authenticity piece that you both spoke around really comes into play. You can hide behind a 5-star review, but there's no hiding behind someone's real human reaction to using a product. Ultimately, that becomes the best sales activation we can have. This almost sounds a bit like, digital word-of-mouth marketing, as we can kind of reach many new audiences as well, too. What kind of content styles are you really seeing kind of, come up from the community around these kinds of categories and how they interact with each other?
I think that the best content that I'm seeing is definitely the hacks or the how-tos. Like, how do you make my life easier? It's not so much about, this is my 30-minute makeup routine, but what can I do really quickly in, 1 minute, 2 minutes? Like, I really like that kind of content that we're seeing, and, it's working really well in this specific category. But I also like seeing what other categories are also doing. So traditionally, a client like Netflix, we've been given a trailer and it's all about a reach and frequency buy. On TikTok, it's more about listening to what the audiences want. And when we release a movie now, it's very much around, and I'll give an example of a horror film. It's, look at those dramatic makeup horror looks from, the killer of the week, or look at the Aussie comic or, lip sync trend that is happening on TikTok, and how do you apply that to a movie release and getting them to create scenes or dramatize, the horror scenes we've seen in history. So I think there's a really nice way that we're able to listen to the community and then adapt the content for what the community is saying, as opposed to a brand saying, insert my message here.
Yeah, exactly. It's letting them play. It's giving them a reason to kind of participate and feel part of something. Ultimately, that makes you part of the community on kind of TikTok. Matt, how are you thinking around building community around the various brands in the L'Oreal kind of business?
Yeah, we've really tried to build a community around the product usage and sharing those tips and tricks and reviews, because it all starts with a good product. And if you have a good product, then it is picked up by people and they exchange tips on how to use it, for example. And tips on how to use it is really linked to makeup. How can you create a smoky eye look, or what are the hottest lipstick colors now for the summer season, now that we're finally out of lockdown? But also with, for instance, skincare, tips on how to treat certain skin concerns. Or to give you an example, a campaign that we're running now is for La Roche-Posay Antelios. It's sunscreen. And I can tell you, if I walk outside in the Australian sun for 2 hours without sunscreen, I can see my head is red. And it is also a serious message, because we know skin cancer is it's a point of concern here. A lot of people get skin cancers. So it's also raising this awareness, and people raising awareness to other people in Australia. And that is the power of TikTok. It is authentic, a fast dialogue, and an ever-evolving message. And it's totally different from the old advertising, which is sending a polished message without the direct feedback. So there you see that advertising in 2021 really has evolved.
Absolutely. And I love the kind of sentiment on being able to kind of use the right voice for the right message. At the end of the day, there's a huge diversity in voices and creators on the platform here. Shivani, how do you kind of think around building a creator strategy and selecting the right people kind of for the campaigns? Can you share a little bit of a wisdom on that front?
Look, I know it's going to sound boring, but it does start with tools. I mean, as a media agency, we care about the audiences and how the audiences behave. So first and foremost, it's about, when you're identifying that, creator for your community, what audiences do they have? What is their aesthetic? What do they look like? And, really being able to find that right creator for your brief at hand. And I would definitely say that every creator needs to have a unique brief to them. It is very much about their style and what they're going to bring to, your brief or your product to really make your message come across. So I think that's probably the first and foremost. I think Creator Marketplace really allows us to be able to tap into, people who are performing really well in these communities, whether it's dermatologists, whether it's skincare experts, whether it's, Aussie comedians, like whatever it might be. I think TikTok Creator Marketplace, really allows us to find the right person for our briefs.
I love that. It allows you to kind of curate these communities almost for the kind of right comms task, the right brand in the portfolio, and ultimately get to scale. We know this is a big job to work directly with multiple creators, so I'd love to see kind of, the efficiencies come into play through tools and how you can kind of expand these strategies. A big component of kind of, being a creator and showing up in a very interactive way is actually going live on the platform. Matt, I know you're quite passionate about this space as well too. I'd be really keen to kind of know your thoughts around what are the opportunities around live now and in the future.
Yeah, for me, live video is the trend I'm going to capture with L'Oreal in 2022. And we've seen that infomercials existed since the 80s. They were on commercial TV, and then you could call to order a product. Now, that has evolved as well. Now you're going to watch a creator live applying a product, talking about a product, probably have a discussion with other people, and there's direct feedback from people watching that video, and we can directly close the loop because you can click on the link and directly buy it on one of our websites or with our e-retail partners. So this direct response, direct purchase, and that is for me the ultimate view of TikTok made me buy it. You see something, you're excited, and you can directly purchase it online and have it delivered to your door.
I love it. It's the ultimate attribution at the end of the day when we can kind of finally close the loop on that. And maybe as seen on TikTok is the new as seen on TV. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm very, very excited to see how you're kind of using the platform today, the power of the community to drive commerce. And we look forward to partnering with you both in the future.
Thanks,
guys.
Dan. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.